If I could only think of how to cut you away, I wouldn't be so frightened or scared to be enlightened. It's kind of difficult to keep my mind on a day that I didn't really mind it. It's in my face, I'll find it. The fields of colors bleeding and it's so far from home. The thoughts keep coming forward, I wish I wasn't so bored. Does it really matter if I'm dying alone? I often try to fake it, what's in my face, I'll take it.
I am the devil. I am the Lord Satan from the netherworld, ruler of the damned and eternal king of hell. Even I, the master of deceit, can only stomach so much bullshit from the mainstream media and indie grifters. That's why I tune in to Morning Extra with Uncle Warren, because he eliminates my competition, and also because I know I'm gonna see that motherfucker soon.
Deo, Deo.
Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that naked won't go down. Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that shit it won't go down. Corrosion to her thighs, erosion of her pride. Baby's got corrosion now, baby's got it.
Right on, right on, right on. What's going on? Good morning, Vietnam, and all that good stuff. It is Wednesday, and we're doing a news thing. If you're into that sort of thing, we hope so. I'm this guy, Uncle Warren. In case you haven't been to the post office and not seen the posters lately, name's up there. Decided to implement a little bit of the chat in here too. It's a little horizontal boogie going on right there. So yeah, good to get everybody in here. Speaking of everybody in here, Willie Bragg, he is here. He says Bragland. Let's see what he says here. He says Bragland will be on this evening at 5 p.m. Eastern, but the Willie Bragg Show will be on Friday at 8 p.m. Yes, we're supposed to have a show last night, but, as things tend to go, it didn't happen, but that's okay. It just means you just want Willie more. Wait, what? Choosy's here. Good morning. We got Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show and Global Solidarity. Rick's here too. Rick, I know Rick has been featured as the concierge to hell on the Secret Show, but as his boss, Satan, is wont to be, he's the jealous type. So he contacted me and said I should put him on the morning show and scare the hell out of people. I said, all right, you know what? Okay, sure. I got nothing better to do. And the money was all right. So we got Finger Bands here. What's up? Ed Heller, good to see you. Yes, we've been dealing with some heat here in the Windy City. It's a hot wind. It's supposed to be muggy today too. Right now it's a comfortable 75 degrees. Your local forecasts on the 8s, only on the Weather Channel, although it's 9:16 here. So totally fucked up that bit, but you know what? What are you gonna do? Yeah, so nobody else on the Rockfin or Rumble yet, but if you're lurking, good to see you this morning as well. So we got a lot to get to, so let's get crack-a-lackin'. Turns out the French, particularly Macron, the president, he doesn't want to give up the power too easily, especially those left-wing nuts. But it's a crazy situation. But it's just another example of a world leader just saying, fuck the people, fuck the will of the people. We're just going to do whatever the hell we want, right? So, so Macron rejects left-wing government amid France's political deadlock. After his party's defeat in the July elections last month, Macron must decide who to nominate for prime minister. And so what does he do? He summons these creatures French far-right leader Marine Le Pen of the National Rally Party and the party's president Jordan Bardella arrive at the Élysée Palace in Paris for talks with President Emmanuel Macron. Oh, sacre bleu! French President Emmanuel Macron has ruled out naming a left-wing government to end the country's political deadlock, saying it would be a threat to, quote, institutional stability, a.k.a. the oligarchy stability. Macron has been searching in successive rounds of talks for a new prime minister since elections in July gave a left-wing alliance the most seats in parliament, but not enough to govern. The president rejected left-wing claims to govern after talks Monday with far-right politician Marine Le Pen and other political leaders. Since Friday, he has invited party leaders to talks in the hopes of finding a consensus candidate who would not immediately be ousted in a no-confidence vote. Chet Manley, way good to see you on the Rockfin there. Camembert, you are right. They're French cheese, huh? Macron is a French cheese, too. He said, my responsibility is that the country is not blocked, no weekend, Macron said in a statement. I so want to do a Pepe Le Pew voice for that, but, I don't want connotations of, cat assault. The July election left the 577-seat National Assembly divided between the left-wing New Popular Front, which was a great boy band back in the 90s, alliance with over 190 seats, followed by Macron's centrist alliance at around 160, and Le Pen's National Rally at 140. The NFP, particularly the hard left France, I almost said unboweled, wow, France unbowed, has demanded for their right to form a government. The party argued that since it won the most seats, it should pick the new prime minister. It has chosen Lucie Castet, 37, as its candidate, right? And so this shenanigans where Macron is not going over too swift with the peeps. So this is from RFI French politics. Oh no! Well, it's my French bread. I know the French people are like, fuck you, dude. Your accent sucks. Quit doing it. So the left-wing alliance calls for street protests after Macron rules out leftist PM. He goes, hey, what's the problem? For the last 6 weeks, France has been run by a caretaker administration that cannot make any new policy. By holding consultations with all the heads of France's political parties, Macron had hoped to break that political deadlock, the result of snap parliamentary elections in July that put the left-wing NFP out in front. But after 2 days of talks, a statement issued Monday calls for political chaos in France, as we told you. In the announcement, Macron ruled out an NFP-led government. Macron called on socialists, communists, and Greens to cooperate with other political parties to try and find a PM who could command cross-party support. The largest party in the alliance, the hard left LFI, was not mentioned in what appeared to be an attempt to split off more moderate members. After the announcement, LFI's national coordinator Manuel Bompard described Macron's stance as an unacceptable anti-democratic coup, while its president Jean-Luc Mélenchon accused Macron of creating an exceptionally serious situation. The popular and political response must be swift and firm, Mélenchon said. LFI has called for marches and protests to force the president to recognize the results of the election. The NFP, which is a coalition of the LFI, Socialists, Communists, and Greens, was formed to block the far-right's ascension to power, the Le Pen people. It worked. NFP won 190 seats, as we said, with Macron with 160 and Le Pen with 140. Although, it was 140. It was Le Pen. While such a diverse alliance has struggled to speak with one voice on Tuesday, it did just that. Socialist Party boss Oliver Faure refused Macron's invitations to New Talk, saying he would not be an accomplice to a parody of democracy. Good for you. Accusing the president of seeking to prolong Macronism despite losing the legislative election. French people will start to get annoyed, to say the least. Fowler warned, vowing to join the call for a big popular mobilization by Communist Party leader Fabien Roussel. And those not familiar with the French, they don't fuck around, right? Within the last couple of years, they got thousands and thousands of people out in the streets who were protesting them raising the retirement age. And it was like a shit ton of people out there too. So, we're going to keep an eye on this and see what happens. But I'm sure Macron is getting his orders from the usual suspects, just like our leaders here in America are, because none of these people actually run the show. Come on, y'all. But then again, you already knew that. We don't really talk about Haiti too much, but I figured we had to talk about this. Again, this is from RFI. So the sexual violence risk soaring for displaced Haiti women, the UN warns. So the risk of sexual violence for women and girls in displacement sites in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, is rapidly rising, owing in part to the alarmingly poor living conditions they are facing. The global body's Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency, UNFPA, said in a statement. Women and girls are often face spiraling sexual violence but have nowhere to turn, it added. Among the 185,000 people forced to flee their homes in the city, many are living in makeshift camps visited by UN officials. In the 14 displacement sites surveyed by UNFPA, more than half of the latrines and many showers are not separated by gender. Several shower doors have no locks, and many sites have no nighttime lighting. As a result, many women and girls are at risk of sexual violence every time they use a shower or toilet, the UNFPA said. With what I've been through, I'd rather have died, said one mother of 7 who was living in a Port-au-Prince shelter and was sexually assaulted while sleeping in a public square, according to the agency. When they saw that I didn't have a man with me, they attacked me while I was 4 months pregnant, she added. I'm always afraid for my daughter, who's 11. And such assaults are on the rise nationwide. Between March and May of this year, the number of cases of sexual and gender-based violence reported by UNFPA and partners jumped by more than 40%, with only a small fraction of total cases reported. Such cases of violence surged from 250 in January and February to over 1,500 in March and topping 2,000 in April and May, according to the UN figures. In total, from January to May 2024, some almost 4,000 cases of gender-based violence, mostly rapes, were reported. Some 61% of victims were displaced persons. Against this backdrop of insecurity and abuse, the UNFPA has launched an appeal for $28 million in funding to strengthen and expand access to life-saving reproductive health and gender-based violence services and support in Haiti in 2024. To date, only 19% of the funding has been mobilized. Haiti, the poorest nation in the Americas, has long been shaken by political, humanitarian, and security crises, including gang violence, but the situation deteriorated sharply in February when gangs launched coordinated attacks in Port-au-Prince, forcing the departure of controversial Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Yes, Haiti has always been just a hotbed for violence, and in the United States, of course, is always meddling in their business too. So, yes, keep Haiti in mind, and keep the women down there in mind too, and what they're going through. Meanwhile, over in Africa, they're dealing with dam bursts. All right, there was an article I read here in the United States, like in the Grand Canyon area, a lady was swept away by a flash flood, right? And those things just in the desert, they just happen in an instant. So you never know when it's going to happen. This was kind of caught everybody off guard, this being a dam burst. This is from Middle East Eye. So a dam burst killing 30 and destroying thousands of homes. The devastation comes amid an intense rainy season that has helped spread a cholera epidemic. So at least 30 people have been killed and the homes of 50,000 people damaged or destroyed after surging waters burst a dam in eastern Sudan. The Arbat Dam, which sits 40 kilometers north of Port Sudan, the country's main Red Sea port, collapsed amid torrential rains, engulfing at least 20 villagers. So we got video here. Let's check this out.
Scores of people are missing after a dam burst in eastern Sudan, unleashing surging waters that wiped out at least 20 villages, according to the United Nations. One first responder said that between 150 and 200 people were unaccounted for. Officials said the dam had started crumbling and silt had been building during days of heavy rain that had come much earlier than usual. Here is UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric.
The Arbat Dam is a crucial facility in Port Sudan, serving as a primary source of fresh water for the city. The reported damage is expected to have a substantial impact on water supplies to Port Sudan, worsening the humanitarian situation.
On the road to Arbat on Monday, a Reuters reporter saw people burying a man and covering his grave with driftwood to try and prevent it from being washed away in mudslides. The homes of about 50,000 people were impacted by the flooding, the United Nations said, citing local authorities. It added that the number only accounted for the area west of the dam, as the area east was inaccessible. The dam was the main source of water for Port Sudan. The city is home to the country's main Red Sea port and airport and receives most of the country's much-needed aid deliveries. Sudan's dams, roads and bridges were already in disrepair before the war between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid forces began in April 2023. Both sides have since funneled the bulk of their resources into the conflict, leaving infrastructure badly neglected.
So yeah, and Asia, that's Africa too. Asia, particularly China, has been dealing, and North Korea too has been dealing with devastating floods as well. Say what you will, it's like, well, it's not natural. It's natural. The world's fucking up weather-wise, or whether humans are doing it. That's kind of a moot point. Shit, these rains and melting these glaciers are causing these flash floods and causing heavy. I mean, and when that happens, it really fucks up the climate, which is not the same as the weather. Climate is different from weather. Please make sure you know that. Speaking of threats, of course, Ukrainian Nazis like nothing more tend to stir the shit. They were trying to blow up that nuclear power plant in Kursk. So now the IAEA is getting involved. This is from Anti-War News with Dave DeCamp here. Be sure to check out antiwar.com and check out the great writing, great independent journalists there giving you the straight poop. And we try to spread the straight poop as we can here. So IAEA chief warns of threat to nuclear plant in Russia's Kursk. Rafael Grossi, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, led a mission to the Kursk nuclear power plant in Russia's Kursk Oblast, which was invaded by Ukrainian forces on August 6. Grossi warned of the danger of a nuclear incident amid the fighting in the region. The danger or the possibility of a nuclear accident has emerged near here, he told reporters. The IAEA visit came after Russian President Vladimir Putin said Ukraine had fired drones at the plant. Kiev denied the charge, but Grossi said he saw evidence of nearby drone attacks. I was informed about the impact of the drones. I was shown some of the remnants of them and signs of the impact they had, Grossi said. And there's the plant there. According to Reuters, the IAEA chief warned that the KMPP was more exposed than most modern nuclear plants because it lacks a containment dome and a protective structure. This means that the core of the reactor containing nuclear material is protected just by a normal roof. This makes it extremely exposed and fragile, for example, to an artillery impact or a drone or a missile, he said. So this is why we believe that a nuclear power plant of this type, so close to a point of contact or a military front, is an extremely serious fact that we take very seriously. Grossi has also previously visited the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine, which was captured by Russian forces back in 2022 and has been controlled by Russia since then. IAEA experts are stationed at the ZMPP, and the plant and the area around it have come under frequent Ukrainian shelling and drone attacks. They really, really want to fuck things up, don't they? Ukraine, you crazy. And if that's not bad enough, Israel, of course, poking the bear with many sticks, and I think, in my opinion, I believe they're trying to get a major war started, and one reason, Iran has slams Israeli scheme to build a synagogue within the Al-Aqsa Mosque, right? Iran has condemned in the strongest terms remarks by an Israeli minister regarding a plan to construct a synagogue inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in the occupied East Al-Quds. In a statement yesterday, Iran's foreign minister spokesman Nasser Kanani slammed Israel's Itamar Ben-Gvir, who announced the plan a day earlier. The Al-Aqsa Mosque is Islam's third holiest site and a symbol of Palestinian identity. The cabinet of the criminal Zionist regime is determined to carry out its sinister agenda regarding the Al-Aqsa Mosque to the extent that it shamelessly declares its malevolent intention to build a synagogue within the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Kanani stated in a post on Twitter. It was the first time for the Israeli minister to openly speak about building a synagogue inside the complex, strengthening the narrative that the Muslim holy site and Palestinian national symbol is under threat from the occupying regime. And there's Nasser Kanani with some words in a language I cannot read. If I could do anything I wanted, I would put an Israeli flag on the site, Ben-Gvir said in an interview with Israel's army radio. When asked by the interviewer whether he would build a synagogue within the site if it were up to him, he replied yes. Ben-Gvir has repeatedly visited the Al-Aqsa Mosque complex despite a long-standing ban on Jews praying at the site. And we told you about that too, where he led a whole bunch of people up there to do just that. And it's all just instigation, right? It's just trying to intimidate these people, and it's FAFO. Fuck around, find out. The finding out is going to be coming soon, I believe. But Israel has been touting Unrwa, UNRWA, and now they're buying ads on Google doing it. So this should have been in our propaganda watch, but I don't know. We probably have to put all of Israel stories in the propaganda watch. This is from Middle East Eye. Israel buying ads on Google searches of Unrwa to discredit UN agency. So Israel's buying advertising on Google search results for Unrwa in a clear attempt to discredit the UN agency for Palestinian refugees, Wired reported on Monday. They've already called them a terrorist agency. According to the report, the Israeli government advertising agency bought ads for searches for Unrwa and Unrwa USA to draw search users to a website linking the agency to Hamas. On the government-run website, Israel alleges that Unrwa has not declared whether employing Hamas members violates its neutrality, a charge the agency strongly rejects. In January, several Western countries suspended financing Unrwa after Israel accused 12 of the organization's 30,000 employees of participating in the surprise attack by Hamas on October 7th. The Colonna report, which was commissioned by the UN to probe Israel's allegations, found that Israeli authorities had not provided any supporting evidence to back up allegations of Unrwa staff links to Hamas. It also made recommendations for Unrwa, which included strengthening its internal audit function and improving external oversight of project management. So yeah, buying ads. We were telling you about the Harris the Harris campaign buying ads and linking them to like major news outlets and making it sound like it was a story, although it says on their promotion or something like that. So, people just trying to be just slick, and too many people are catching them in the bullshit. Much like New York University, who's decided to be king of the shitballs. NYU adopts measures declaring Zionists a protected class. I thought they were already a protected class. Aren't they running shit? Pro-Palestinian groups say move is dangerous precedent that equates Zionism with Judaism, which it is not. Be clear. You can be a Zionist and a Jew. You can be a Jew and not a Zionist. You can be a Zionist and a Christian. You could be a Zionist and anybody else. It has nothing to do with being a Jew. New York University has changed its guidelines around hate speech and harassment to include the criticism of Zionism as a discriminatory act. The new measure places anyone who identifies as a Zionist under the category of a protected class, which shields the group from being subject to discriminatory comments. Pro-Palestinian groups responded to the news with alarm, saying that the new guidelines effectively equate Zionism with Judaism and will have a chilling effect on the ability of students and faculty to be able to protest against Israel's treatment of Palestinians. Well, you could, instead of calling them Zionists, you could just call them Nazis. Nazis not protected yet, so, there's always that. You've always got a side angle. For many Jewish people, Zionism is a part of their Jewish identity, speech, and conduct that would violate the NDAH, non-discrimination and anti-harassment policy, if targeting Jewish or Israeli people can also violate the NDAH if directed towards Zionists, read the new guidelines from NYU, which were released last Thursday. The NYU chapter of Faculty and Staff for Justice in Palestine released a statement on Sunday condemning the move, saying that it sets a dangerous precedent which could also shield other ethno-nationalist movements such as Hindu nationalism and Christian nationalism from criticism. That's a good point. The new guidance sets a dangerous precedent by extending the Title VI protections to anyone who adheres to Zionism, a nationalist political ideology, and troublingly equates criticism of Zionism with discrimination against Jewish people, NYU FSJP said. And Brianna Joy Gray here in a tweet saying, at NYU, it's discrimination to criticize a genocidal ethno-state. The updated guidelines from NYU comes as the new school semester is set to begin next week. The university was embroiled in pro-Palestinian protests throughout last year, which were calling for an end to the school's investments in companies profiting from Israel's ongoing war on Gaza. Several American universities have maintained deep ties with Israeli institutions of higher learning and continue to hold investments in weapons companies servicing Israel. In the case of NYU, the institution has a study abroad program in Tel Aviv. NYU responded to the protest by calling in police to forcibly remove a Gaza Solidarity encampment that had been set up on campus. Those poor Zionists, they keep murdering children, and, you just don't understand, sir or madam or, whoever you are. God, where's your sensitivity? All right, so speaking of some bullshit, California, I guess that's all I have to say when you talk about bullshit. Just say California, and you're like, oh yeah, which bullshit are you talking about? Well, we're talking about the homeless situation that's going over there. how billions of dollars that were allocated to help the homeless situation. Me not know. This is from KTLA in LA.
A new audit has found that California did not properly track the billions of dollars it spent to combat the homelessness crisis.
Capitol correspondent Eitan Wallace has a closer look at the findings and has a reaction from lawmakers.
Well, here at the state capitol, lawmakers we spoke to about this audit's findings say they are outraged. It's the issue impacting communities across the state, homelessness. It's such a big issue that, according to the Legislative Analyst's Office, the state invested $24 billion over the last 5 years to curb the problem. But this just released report from the California auditor found the state lacks the proper information to determine the ongoing costs and results of its homelessness programs because the California Interagency Council, or ICH, in charge of overseeing the implementation of Housing First policies, has, quote, not consistently tracked and evaluated the state's efforts to prevent and end homelessness.
And that's disappointing.
I would say it was very troubling.
That was the reaction from Republican Assemblymember Josh Hoover and Democratic Senator Dave Cortese. They were the bipartisan lawmakers who originally requested the audit to take place. The audit found the ICH Council did track homelessness spending between 2018 and 2021, but not since then. Above that, it showed despite the billions of dollars spent to combat the issue, the number of people experiencing homelessness increased by more than 50% between 2013 and 2023.
If you're a taxpayer, right, you should be outraged because obviously your money is being wasted. But even if you're a homeless advocate, someone that wants to support these programs with state dollars, you should be outraged, right? Because the reality is they're clearly not getting people the help that they need.
The bottom line is something's not effective, something's not getting the results, and we just need to do a better job now going forward of tracking and assessing.
In response to the audit's findings, the Interagency Council on Homelessness said the audit underscores a need to continue to hold local governments accountable who are primarily responsible for implementing these programs and collecting data on outcomes the state can use to evaluate program effectiveness. The council continues to improve its ability to ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent judiciously and effectively. As for what happens next, the audit is calling on the legislature to require state agencies to report the costs and outcomes of their homelessness programs.
You know, we know what's broken. We can go right to the cure and make sure this doesn't happen any longer.
We, as a legislature, should be very troubled by this report and ready to take action.
At the state capitol, Eitan Wallace, KTLA 5 News.
Thank you, Eitan. Thank you a ton, Eitan. Because that's his name, the thing. Yeah, so... you know, some of you a little bit older people who remember back in 2001 on September 10th, the Pentagon with Donald Rumsfeld, he said $2 trillion. Oopsie sauce. You know, I don't what happened. So it looks like shenanigans going on in California as well, and they're trying to push this to the local governments that are supposed to be putting this money out, supposed to be using this money. But it's interesting that they stopped tracking in 2021. You know what happened in 2021, right? Big C, little Ovid, coinkydink. Maybe. It all seems connected at this point. I thought this was an interesting story coming out of, I think this is out of Cali. Or this, this is, I think this is in Arizona. So who shot Tupac, right? It wasn't me, you know. We got money for wars, but we can't feed the poor. And apparently, we can only charge one man with the murder of the guy who sang that song. So, this is from Africa News, doing their USA beat. Tupac Shakur murder accused again, murderer that should be, again denied bail by judge. So, the ailing former Los Angeles gang leader Dwayne Kefe D. Davis is the only person ever charged in connection with the drive-by shooting that claimed the hip-hop star's life. Now, you might be saying, why are you doing a hip-hop story? Tupac was very influential in the 90s, right? And his murder just only escalated his legend that much more, right? You know, he was one of the people in the he wasn't one of the founders of hip hop, but he was one of the ones in the early 90s that really helped it to take off, and had some very strong political views. Like we said, the phrase, "We got money for wars, but we can't feed the poor." And there is a there's a song he does it called "I Don't Give a Fuck," and he's just telling everybody, like George Bush, the CIA, and everybody to fuck off. So prosecutors say the gunfire that killed Shakur was the result of competition between the members of two different gangs, one of which reportedly included Davis. The former gang leader has requested release on bail set at $750,000 several times since his arrest in September of last year and has faced repeated denials. In rejecting his latest request, Judge Carly Kearney cited concerns over the legitimacy of the funds being offered for his release. She said she had doubts about the transparency of the funds, suggesting that efforts might have been underway to conceal the true origin. Kearney also said she was unconvinced that Davis and the music executive reportedly underwriting the money were not planning to reap profits from the sale of his life story. Nevada law forbids convicted killers from benefiting financially from their crimes. Davis has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. The judge has also pushed back the start of his trial from November of this year to March of next year. Yeah. So that's, don't say we're not funky fresh on this show. We give you all the news. Including those of people making shit tons of money off of weapons. Why are there so many wars, Uncle Warren? Because, money, things. This is Kyle Anzalone reporting for the Libertarian Institute. Another good place to check out good independent journalism. Weapons makers see huge cash flow influx amid global tensions. Look at that. Murder them bitches as long as that money's still green. As wars in Ukraine and the Middle East continue to rage, Vertical Research Partners forecast top weapon manufacturers will experience record cash flows during the coming years. The analysis, which was commissioned by the Financial Times, reports the leading 15 defense contractors are forecast to log free cash flow of $52 billion in 2026, with the 5 top U.S. defense contractors are forecast to generate cash flow of $26 billion. The cash flow in 2026 will be double the 2021 numbers. The record numbers are part of an upward trend for weapons makers already benefiting from a surge in global military spending and conflict. I'm going to read that again. Let's emphasize that. The cash flow in 2026 will be double the 2021 numbers. The record numbers are part of an upward trend for weapons makers already benefiting from a surge in global military spending and conflict. So when you say, why are these wars happening? Bottom line is cash. Washington is driving the worldwide arms race. The U.S. military budget is about the same as the next 10 countries combined. Additionally, under President Joe Biden, Washington funneled billions in weapons to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The policy has led to massive wars in Ukraine, Gaza, and Lebanon. Wow, how about that? What a coincidence. Additionally, tensions in the South China Sea are boiling as Israel and Iran are on the brink of a potential direct war. The White House is well positioned to de-escalate many of the world's conflicts. The U.S. could push Israel and Ukraine to negotiate by leveraging Washington's military aid to Tel Aviv and Kiev. In the South China Sea, potential conflicts between China and Taiwan or the Philippines have been partially driven by Washington's pledge to go to war against Beijing for Manila and Taipei. The U.S. has also given the Philippines and Taiwan hundreds of millions in weapons, further provoking China. What's that meme with the British guy playing the Nazi? He gets, away the baddies! Away the baddies! Yeah, we're the fucking baddies. And it's not just terrestrial. They're putting weapons in space too. This is from the Military Times. Securing U.S. space assets is busting the Air Force budget, Kendall says. This is from Military Times. I like Military Times. They just tell you, man. It's like, here's money. This is what we're doing. When Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall unveiled his 7 no-fail mission priorities 2 years ago, dubbed Operational Imperatives, creating a resilient space architecture was at the top of the list. Of all the imperatives, this is perhaps the broadest and the one with the most potential impact, he said back in March 2022. Our terrestrial forces, joint and combined, cannot survive and perform their missions if our adversaries' space-based operational support systems, especially targeting systems, are allowed to operate with impunity. Kendall's emphasis, I said it like that. You put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Kendall's emphasis on resilience in space is underpinned by 2 ideas that have picked up traction across the Defense Department in recent years. First, capabilities like GPS, satellite communications, and space-based intelligence collection play an essential enabling role in most U.S. military operations. And second, threats from adversaries like China and Russia have put those capabilities at risk. The creation of the Space Force in 2019 was a step towards strengthening the resourcing and organizational heft of the military space enterprise in making space resilience central to the Secretary's operational imperatives. The push is expected to get top billing when it comes to divvying up scarce Air Force and Space Force budget dollars. We've only begun to define and have not yet fully resourced the space systems we will need to secure the nation, he said at the time. But don't worry, kids. Uncle Donald is right there. He's promising to create a space national guard, and he demands more money from NATO spending. So this is breaking defense. So here's that moron. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump today pledged to create a space national guard if he is voted in for another term as president in November, a move that would reverse the Biden administration's current plans that would see Air National Guard members with space backgrounds transfer into the Space Force. So he wants to add another branch of government. I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to drain the swamp. No, you're just creating more government. You're a fucking liar. People should know that. Now that Space Force is up and running, I agree with your leadership. You want this very badly, but I agree that the time has come to create a Space National Guard as the primary combat reserve of the U.S. Space Force, Trump told the National Guard Association during the organization's annual conference in Detroit. The association has a long tradition of inviting presidential contenders to speak at the event. They also invited Kamala Harris, who did not accept, according to the group's website. The organization, along with top National Guard brass, has vehemently opposed the current Air Force proposal to effectively fold the some 1,000 Air National Guard personnel with space-focused units who hail from 7 states into the active duty Space Force. The idea is to create a flexible system that allows Guard members to transfer between full and part-time service. The plan also has been trashed by all 50 state governors, plus those of 5 U.S. territories. Yeah, so good job there, Donnie. Another winner. And these are the people he's one of the guys that's going to possibly be your president again. We've seen what he's done before. And he's pretty much telling you, I'm going to do more dumb shit. You're like, but we got to defeat Harry. No, I don't want to hear about that shit. So a former Navy base in Maine, we had talked about Camp Lejeune and poison water there from the 50s up into the 80s. And now there's a major PFAS spill in Maine. So this is from Common Dreams. Local fears grow after major PFAS spill at former Navy base in Maine. Maine officials in recent days have downplayed the public health risk posed by an accidental discharge of firefighting foam containing the toxic substances known as forever chemicals over a week ago. But the initial tests on Monday revealed startlingly high concentrations of the chemicals near the airport where the spill occurred. The state found that perfluorooctane sulfonic acid, PFOS, a type of synthetic perfluoroalkyl and perfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, that's been widely used to make firefighting foam and is still in circulation despite being phased out of production, was present in a chemical tank at Brunswick Executive Airport at a level of 3.2 billion parts per trillion, PPT. The Maine Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advised the public not to consume freshwater fish from Muir Brook, Mariconeag Stream, that's a weird name, Picnic Pond, and the Site 8 Stream near the airport, which is a former Naval Air Station. The chemical tank fed firefighting foam concentrate into a fire suppression system that malfunctioned at Hangar 4 at the airport on August 19th, sending the toxic foam into a nearby parking lot, down sewage and storm drains, and floating through the air at Brunswick Landing, a residential and business development in the area. About 1,500 gallons of the foam concentrate spilled. The test indicated a level of PFOS well over federal and state limits. Maine requires remedial action when PFOS is found at a level of 1,000 parts per trillion in groundwater and 210 for milk, while the federal drinking water standard is less than 4. Samples taken at nearby drainage ponds found PFOS concentrations of a little over 1 million parts per million. 1 million parts per million? Isn't that all of it? Where the foam entered, and 701, that should be parts per trillion, and 701 parts per trillion where it would leave the ponds. Maine, right? And this is the firefighter foam that they're talking about. Gross, right? You know, and you're like, well, why should I have regulations? All they do is keep me from my business from making money. You have regulations so dumb shit like that doesn't happen. And, you know, now they're fucked up in Maine. You know, we have no love lost for Boeing on this show. It seems like every Boeing story we do, it's always something bad, right? And, well, in Hot Atlanta, more of the same. 2 Delta workers killed in a tire explosion at Atlanta airport. A tire of a Boeing 757 exploded early Tuesday during maintenance at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, killing 2 Delta employees and injuring a third, according to the company and local officials. The incident happened at around 5 a.m. yesterday when the tire exploded while being removed from a Boeing 757-232. So this wasn't even like in motion. This wasn't even like it's on the runway and then boom. It was like they were just taking the tire off. And boom. Which was parked at Delta's Technical Operations Maintenance Facility. Specific details about the circumstances of the incident were not immediately known, but a statement from Delta Airlines confirmed that 2 of its employees were killed. A third was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The Delta family is heartbroken at the loss of 2 team members and the injury of another, the airline said in a brief statement. We have extended our full support to family members and colleagues during this incredibly difficult time. The Delta family is grateful for the quick action of first responders and medical teams on site. We're now working with local authorities and conducting a full investigation to determine what happened. Both the airport and the FAA declined to comment, referring media inquiries to Delta. Flight operations at the airport are not affected. The plane involved, with tail number N683DA, had arrived in Atlanta after a flight from Vegas on Sunday night. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens said multiple agencies were at the scene to address the situation. Boeing. There you go. I take the train when I go across country now. I don't like to fly because I don't want to take my belt and shoes off and have somebody grope my junk. Although I do pay extra for that on Saturday nights, but that's a totally different situation. I'm not saying people shouldn't fly. I'm just saying, just make sure that you're not flying a Boeing plane. And if you are, good luck to you. Which I wouldn't be surprised on some of these Boeing planes that they're not giving out Cocoa Puffs, right? My buddy Ed Heller shared this the other day, and I was like, wow, really? Cocoa Puffs? But it kind of makes sense. There's a lot of poisons in our foods right now. This is from classaction.org. This was from last month, but Cocoa Puffs lawsuit claims breakfast cereal contains dangerous levels of lead. That's where the cuckoo part comes from, because the lead affects your brain. A proposed class action out of California claims General Mills Sales Incorporated has failed to warn consumers that Cocoa Puffs breakfast cereal contained a dangerous amount of lead. Okay, why is there lead in it at all? Much less a dangerous amount of lead. The 19-page Cocoa Puffs lawsuit contends that reasonable consumers are led to believe the cereal is safe to eat and does not contain harmful substances because there is no warning on the product packaging about the presence of lead, exposure to which has been linked to decreased neurological function and other serious health risks. The suit alleges that the undisclosed lead content renders the breakfast cereal unfit for human consumption and particularly unfit for children. You think? According to the case, independent lab analysis has revealed that the amount of lead found in an average size bowl of Cocoa Puffs exceeds the 0.5 microgram maximum allowable dose level per day for lead established under California regulations. And you wonder why, and it really is no wonder why these countries don't want like American products in their countries, because it's all poison. Although testing showed that 1 cup of Cocoa Puffs contains 0.432 micrograms of lead, below the regulatory maximum, a vast majority of consumers pour significantly more cereal per bowl than the recommended serving size, the complaint contests. In fact, a study by Consumer Reports found that most consumers exceed a cereal serving size by between 24 and 132%, and the Cocoa Puffs box itself displays an oversized serving of the cereal on its front label, the suit adds. Yeah. Cocoa Puffs, right? Lucky Charms is another one too. I had to stop eating that. I love me some Lucky Charms, but apparently there's the inks in there are from are terrible too, like the dyes and stuff. What's up, Kate? Good to see you, sweetie. She's over there on the rock fin. No, you're okay, sweetie. The show doesn't start till you get here anyway, so don't worry about it. You're fine. And finally, in fuck you news, Dollar General stores have been preying on the poor. How so, you may be asking? Well, this is from Common Dreams, and Jake Johnson down there. He has a nice smile there, a nice haircut too. Now, your friend there, the disheveled one, he should take notice. Report exposes how chains like Dollar General prey on the poor with cashback fees. Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and Kroger rake in a combined $90 million a year from cashback fees, according to a new report by the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. The CFPB published a report yesterday highlighting how large retailers such as Dollar General and Kroger exploit low-income communities' lack of access to local banking to hit consumers with predatory cashback fees. The CFPB found that while many retailers still offer free cashback at the register, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and Kroger collectively rake in $90 million a year from fees imposed on people using the retail locations to access their own money. At Dollar Tree and Dollar General and Dollar Tree Family Dollar, cashback fees for small withdrawal amounts are the highest in the sample, $1 fee or more for cashback amounts under $50, the Bureau found. Kroger, the country's largest grocery chain, recently announced new charges at their Harris Teeter stores, 75 cents for $100 cashback or less, and charges 50 cents for up to $100 cashback at their other brand stores such as Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and others. The CFPB emphasized that such fees are disproportionately levied against people with lower incomes who are more likely to live in areas with fewer banking options, forcing residents to rely on dollar stores for easy access to cash. The report notes that banking industry consolidation and branch closures have left a void of cash access spots that retailers like Dollar General have rushed to fill. Yeah, so, and that's the thing too. In these rural areas where, you might be like, well, why don't people just bank online? It's like, well, you still got to you can't get the physical cash out of your computer, right? You have to find some, and even in some of these places, some of these ATMs that are nothing but just like take your money situations, charge a fee as well. If you're using, especially if it's like, if you're using another bank, or if it's like one of these like bodega ATMs that charge like $100, so it doesn't matter how much you take out, they'll charge you like $1 or something like that. Very ridiculous shit. And I hope they get there really needs to be something done about that, because poor people, they have enough problems without having to deal with that bullshit. Just give them their fucking money. All right. So Meta, Facebook, they're saying, all that bullshit during the pandemic where they were censoring people. They were like, "Well, it wasn't my fault. It was the government. It wasn't me. I don't know what you're saying. You're so full of shit."
Sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media things are true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
All right, so this is from Hedge Zero. It's kind of right wing, but they do have some good business and tech items on here. So in a stunning letter to Congress, Mark Zuckerberg admits Biden-Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor content. Really? 2 years ago, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitted to Joe Rogan that the FBI pressured Facebook into censoring the Hunter Biden laptop story. "It wasn't me, it was them. I see I'm pointing at him." Doesn't he look like Data from Star Trek? I'm sorry. The Next Generation. Now he's participating in a congressional investigation. In a stunning Monday evening letter to House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, Zuckerberg admitted that senior Biden administration officials repeatedly pressured Facebook teams to suppress information related to COVID-19 that the platform would not have otherwise censored. Really? And the administration expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Zuck now says that Facebook should not have compromised its standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. "I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it," reads the letter. "I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight, new information we wouldn't make again." He's also committed and ready to push back if something like this happens again. So, and these are the same motherfuckers that took my account off of Facebook because all I did was I shared my COVID story that I had. And YouTube did the same as well. Meanwhile, in other fuckhead news, Elon Musk's X tweets chatbot, X tweaks chatbot after warning U.S. over U.S. election misinformation. So they have this new thing called Groks. I see it every once in a while. I'm like, what the fuck is that shit? Twitter has made change to its AI chatbot. Oh, I guess that's what that is. Their AI chatbot, Grok. After 5 secretaries of state in the United States warned it was spreading election misinformation. Top election officials from Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Washington sent a letter this month to Elon Musk complaining that the platform's AI chatbot, Grok, produced false information about state ballot deadlines shortly after President Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. The secretaries of state requested that the chatbot instead direct users who ask election-related questions to canivote.org, a voting information website run by the National Association for Secretaries of State, or also known as NAS. Before listing responses to election-related questions, the chatbot now says, for accurate and up-to-date information about the 2024 U.S. elections, please visit vote.gov. Because Grok ain't going to tell you shit. Grok's just going to lie to your ass. Both websites are trustworthy resources that can connect voters with their local election officials, the 5 state secretaries said in a shared statement. We appreciate Twitter's action to improve their platform and hope they continue to make improvements that will ensure their users have access to accurate information from trusted sources in this critical election year, they said. Beautiful, right? So, yeah. So, Facebook saying, what, us? I do nothing as those guys. And Twitter's just like, giving out wrong information. Always stay frosty, people. Always stay frosty because fuckery is afoot. And if you're not paying attention, that's what they're hoping for. And they want you to be distracted. My buddy Robert Durden has been pretty consistent in finding a lot of the propaganda shit too. So this is from his post on Twitter. He said, these two nearly identical tweets from Sisson and Xi, I'll tell you about that in a second, came out at exactly the same time. Are these little blue robots getting memos from the DNC to tweet this stuff? And you've guys seen this shit before. So this is Victor Xi. He's one of the propagandists on there. Holy cow, this is in Arizona right now for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's office opening. The line is out the door and the room is totally full. Arizonans are so ready to take action and this is huge, amazing. And then it's got like these clueless people here. And then this is from Harry Sisson, the prom night dumpster baby who survived. Wow, this is the scene at the 14th Harris Walz office opening in Arizona. The line is out the door. People in states around the country are excited about VP Harris and Governor Walz. Let's do this. Ugh. Yeah, that kind of shit just makes me throw up in my mouth. But if you're not following Robert on the tweeters, do so. Very smart kid. I say kid because I'm an old fart. He probably doesn't like being called a kid. But trust me, you get my age, you'll love it. So yeah, be sure you're following on him. Following him there. And then from our buddy Fee, this, you may have seen this going around. All the hero worship for the genocidal Gabbard RFK team versus Coconut Kamala once again proves U.S. Americans are the dumbest people in the world, the most propagandized, entirely selfish. It also proves Israel will win this election. Enjoy the show. It's only beginning. And then there's this team unity. And I think JFK or RFK Jr. Made a tweet the other day when Tulsi Gabbard joined the team. Says, Wonder Woman has joined the Justice League. Politicians, all of them, clowns, all of them, all your favorites, clowns, even the ones who were like, trying to do stuff, clowns. When you're trying to participate in this kind of bullshit, it's theater, folks. It's theater. Come on, why? But that's why we do this propaganda watch thing, to make sure that dumb shit is happening around you, and you're like, wait a minute, but they said, and this part was true. It's like, yes, as we always say, the devil, who watches this show, always mixes truth with his lies. That's how he spreads the lies, because that little bit of truth you get there, you're like, wait, he said that's true, so the rest of it must be true. No, that's not how that works. Let's end the show with some better news, I guess. One of the things about these batteries, whether it's in a electric vehicle or maybe you're, just whatever you use, if you still use batteries around the house. I know you have like rechargeable batteries and stuff in your phones, your laptops and stuff like that. So, but they don't really know how to recycle these batteries until now. Dun, dun, dun. Bacteria assisting in rare metal extraction in old batteries. So this is from Al Mayadeen. And these are some, the University of Edinburgh, Professor Louise Horsfall, and the Horsfall Group. I saw them live at the Civic Center with special guest Crocus. Scientists have developed a new method of combating climate change while enhancing green technology for environmental use. They're using bacteria to assist in the extraction of rare metals, highlighting that without these microbes, there would be a scarcity of raw materials to build turbines, electric cars, and solar panels. And that was always the problem with solar panels, too. What are you going to do with these solar panels? You can't recycle them, but, now they possibly can. The initiative is led by scientists from the University of Edinburgh, aiming to use the bacteria to extract lithium, cobalt, manganese, and other minerals from old batteries and electric equipment, probably electronic equipment. These scarce and expensive materials are essential for building devices dependent on green technology, such as electric cars. Professor Horsfall, chair of the university's sustainable biotechnology, highlighted, we're going to end our dependence on petrochemicals and rely on electricity for our heating, transport, and power. Then we will become more and more dependent on metals, said Horsfall, adding that all those photovoltaics, drones, 3D printing machines, hydrogen fuel cells, wind turbines, and motors for electric cars require metals, many of them rare, that are key to their operations. But isn't it just easier to just invade a country that has all that shit and just take their natural resources like we've been doing for decades? I mean, what's this do-it-yourself shit? But I think if they can find a way for people to do that at home, if they can do the process themselves, extract these metals, like if you have your own like solar panels or something like that, or you have an electric vehicle, you may be able to collect this stuff and turn it in and maybe get a nice little profit out of it, make some little cash off of it. And then we're not like digging up half the earth looking for these fucking metals and shit to do that. But had we just listened to Nikola Tesla back in the turn of the 20th century, we could have had free energy for 100 years. But one person wanted to put a meter on it. You see, we can't give this shit away for free. It's too valuable. And that's where humanity is right now. And now we're just buried in shit. Hey, Teresa, good to see you. Yeah, so I for some people it's like, well, we just should get away from all this green energy type stuff and try and find something else. Always keep your options open. Let's try and find something better that's not lethal to humans, that doesn't poison the waters. And was Ronan, you said, good to see you, by the way. Solar panels are over 100 years old, and electric cars were around in the 1800s. That's right. There were electric cars in the 1800s, but they didn't burn that gasoline, that petrol, and Standard Oil was like, we're not doing that. So later today, hopefully, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, our buddy Lucy's going to be on from Blue Moon Red Wine. And like I said, she's been on fire lately with some of her no fucks given takes on her channel. So she's going to come on and, I'm just going to say, hi, Lucy. And then just let her take over the rest of the show. And finally tonight, we have one of our old sponsors has a new commercial, and it's nice to see that they updated their shit, although I don't know how they're in business. But enjoy the sponsor, and we will see you tonight for ExtraBulla Live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 Mountain, and 4 Pacific, and then we'll be back here on Friday at the 10 a.m. Eastern. So enjoy yourselves, be safe, have a good day, and we'll see you next time.
Want to catch the big one on your next fishing trip but can't find that perfect bait?
Maybe it's time to visit the Master. Masturbators. We'll help you yank one out of the water and be the hero of your next fish fry. Tugging and jerking the line with a big mouth bass can be easy with our proven fish baits. Don't go blind looking for that perfect bait. Harry Palms of Destin, Florida says,
I was a lonely, frustrated man till masturbating made my dreams come true.
It's masturbators.
Yeah, that too.
Visit us online at lubeandtissue.com or stop by one of our convenient locations at a rest area near you. Masturbators.
We're on the highway.
We're on the highway.
This is City Alpha 5! Woo! Damn good song, wasn't it, dog? You like that song? All right.
Soon.